It's my great pleasure to introduce our next keynote. And I love the title. Think Differently. Wow, I might steal that for next year's theme for IMC. Think Differently. That's just genius as far as I'm concerned. I've been lucky enough to be friends with and learn from Steve Beamer for a number of years in various places that he has driven reliability improvements. He's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and it's really an honor to have him here. He is the Vice President of Reliability and Maintenance Upstream for BP Upstream Global Operations in Houston, Texas. He's responsible for reliability and maintenance on plant assets. That includes global work processes for work management, defect elimination, production and efficiency improvements. He's got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Auburn University and an MBA from Pepperdine University, and he joined BP in October 2011. He came to BP from Peabody Energy, a mining company in the United States, where he held a similar position, Vice President of Asset Management. Steve started his career in the nuclear Navy, and after 5 years took a maintenance engineering role with Mobil Oil in Southern California. Then he had held roles as the inspection supervisor and procurement manager. In the mid-90s, he moved into the Technology Center and became an internal consultant in reliability and maintenance, including TARs. Following the merger of Exxon and Mobil, Steve participated in merging the reliability systems of both companies. And he returned to the USA, he did implement these in facilities in Asia Pacific. He returned to the USA in 2012 at the lead reliability maintenance team at ExxonMobil Research and Engineering. From there, he went to Calumet Refinery in New Orleans, where he was a member of the leadership team. He left ExxonMobil in 2006 to take a role of VP Technology Engineering Manager at Hovensa. It's a Hovensa PDVSA joint venture. And then in 2009, he moved to Peabody Energy. So how about a warm hand and a welcome for Steve Beamer. Steve, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, sir. There's a pointer if you need it. There's the clicker.
All right, good morning, everybody. So, glad to see everybody this morning. Hope you had a good time at the bar. Hope you're enjoying IMC. I really enjoy coming to this conference. You know, I don't get out too much because I'm a pretty busy guy. So when I choose to come to a conference, this is the one I always come to because it's so well done. So thanks a lot, Terry. So yesterday, you know, Terry challenged us to walk out of here different. And my declaration is I would like to be the one that helps BP move into a new place because they really want to and they don't know how to. So I'll make my declaration now since I have an early flight out in the morning. But I don't want Terry to call me a cynic tomorrow. So the lawyers have made me specifically say that this is my opinion. This is not the opinion of my company. And, you know, we're in a lot of litigation right now and they don't want me to talk about it. So don't ask me any BP questions. I can't answer them. All right. I'll try to keep it a little bit light. But, you know, in 1985, Steve Jobs challenged us to think different. And I think that goes right along with the theme that Terry set for here of, you know, you are the person who can change your life. You can change the way things are going. And I'd like to present a little bit of a framework of how you might think differently. So some key questions that might help you think differently are, you know, what's the outcome I'm looking for? What am I trying to achieve by doing what I'm doing? You know, because a lot of times as engineers, we get hooked up on, hey, that's a great, cool, new technology. I want to use it. But we don't really know how we're going to apply it or how we're going to make it stick. And you saw the numbers on the change initiatives. My examples are, you know, my knowledge is consistent with that, is a lot of things fail, even though they're technically sound. So, you know, another question I always ask is, you know, this is what everybody else is doing, but is that what we should be doing? Is the conventional wisdom right? I also ask, where am I getting my information from? Because a lot of times you need to think about the person that's giving you the information or the organization that's giving you the information. What's their motivation, right? Who benefits from the course of action that we choose to take? And what works, and how do I know that works? So, in a lot of cases, life can be counterintuitive. And I want to apply some of this different thinking kind of in 3 areas of life that are important to all of us. And, you know, I know it's early in the morning, and we've all met our old friends, and we stayed at the bar probably a little too long, so I don't want to make it too heavy this morning. So I thought I'd talk about health, money investments, and reliability and maintenance. I think that's something that all of us in this room care about, right? So does anybody think that doesn't care about these things? Okay, so let's take these three things through those questions that I had on the first page. So from my perspective, I tried to put something that was not too controversial here in what do I need or want. And for me, I want to be healthy. I want to live a long time. You know, in terms of money, I want to make enough money to live a comfortable lifestyle without worrying about how to feed myself or my family or worrying about where I'll sleep. And I'd like to save enough money so I don't have to work until I die. I'd like to relax a little bit. Reliability and maintenance. I want my equipment to deliver high-quality, safe production at low cost. And I think one of the common themes you'll hear from all the practitioners as we go through this, and what you'll hear from all the guys that have written the books and everybody else, is that it really starts with reliability. You know, safety is what we always focus on first, because safety is now. You know, if you chop your finger off, it's bleeding, it hurts, you know, it's in the now. And reliability is a delayed effect, so it's a bit counterintuitive. I can cut the cost today, and from what I've seen, you know, the first time you'll see an impact from cutting costs today will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road. And then it's too late. And you know, most of our managers are gone by then. So if I cut costs and I leave, you know, I'm going to get promoted and the next guy's going to be left holding the bag. And that's typically how many of our managers work. So let's take these things through the questions and see where we come out. Conventional wisdom on health, right? Calories in, calories out. You know, if I eat too much, I get fat, right? Cholesterol causes heart disease. Fat is bad. You know, whole grains are good for us. We should exercise vigorously at least 30 minutes a day. You've got the food pyramid and the myplate.gov, which has changed, I don't know, about 4 or 5 times in the 30 years. When I was a kid, everybody was eating margarine because it was good for you. You know, pump in those trans fats, we're all going to have a heart attack from what our moms fed us, right? Okay. So where does the information come from? Well, it comes from the government, it comes from the USDA, it comes from the FDA. What do we do in this country? In this country, we grow a lot of corn, wheat, oats, grains. So what do you think that we're going to say? Hey, you got to eat that stuff. It's good for you, right? Universities do research. Where do they get their funding from? They get their funding from companies. Companies that grow corn, wheat, and grain, or they get their companies from funding from drug companies. But most of these companies have a reason for funding research, right? They want to sell you something. Doctors. Doctors are not trained in nutrition. Doctors are trained to recognize what's wrong with you and take action to fix it. Right? So when you ask your doctor about what should I eat, what's he going to tell you? He doesn't know. I mean, and the internet, of course, Google knows all. So who benefits from being healthy? I'm the only one who benefits from me being healthy. My doctor doesn't benefit because I'm not going to go see him. Right? The drug companies aren't going to benefit because I don't need any drugs. So, you know, who benefits from me being unhealthy? All these people. The hospital, the doctor, McDonald's, right? The drug companies. So, what really works? So, Michael Pollan has written a lot of good books. They're really interesting. They're not very technical. He's a journalist out in the West Coast, but he's written The Omnivore Dilemma. He's written Food Rules, but he kind of narrows it. He brings it all down to eat real food, and that's something that doesn't come in a box or a package, right? Mostly plants, not too much. So I got a couple of pictures there. If you look at the eggs, I got a package of eggs from the farmer's market, and I got a package of eggs from the store. Can you tell the difference? Yeah. So the dark orange ones there are the chickens that were raised in the pasture, and the yellow ones are the ones that came from the chicken factory, as it were. Right? So Atkins was right. You know, it's eat mostly meat and vegetables. And the quality is important. So if you eat an animal that was raised in an unhealthy way, the meat or the food is unhealthy, right? So there's the paleo food pyramid, which says you should eat, you know, you should drink a lot of water, eat a lot of vegetables, a little bit less meat and fish, fruit, nuts, oils, spices. Notice what's not there. Corn, wheat. Exercise. So really only two things. We all know this, right? We all know that if you want to be healthy, all you need to do is eat right and exercise. So exercise improves health, but how much do you need? Do we need to exercise vigorously for 30 minutes a day? Who has time to do that? Right? Some of us do, but most of the time I don't have time to exercise vigorously for 30 minutes a day. So the science is learning what we already knew a long time ago, right? It doesn't matter really how you get your exercise, but you have to get a certain amount of exercise. So that's why when you go to Europe or Japan or these places where people walk and then they take the train, they're not doing anything special, but they are getting them exercise. So it doesn't matter whether you get it in 10 minutes at a time or whether you do it all at once, but you have to get a specific amount. The way people are measuring it today is this metabolic equivalent. So it says walking 2.5 hours is worth jogging for an hour and a quarter or cycling or 12 minutes of high-intensity interval training, which is basically you go full out for 20 seconds and you rest for 10 seconds and you do that again for 10 or 12 times. So you can exercise in 12 minutes a week if you want to, but it's pretty painful. It's not fun, right? You've got to lift weights because that's how your nervous system stays healthy. So by lifting weights, you build your nervous system. So you don't have to lift weights too often. You don't have to lift a lot of weight. But one of the things we hardly ever do in modern life is lift things over our head. So that's something that needs to get done. So most of the things you'll read recommend kind of the big five. You lift something over your head. You need to work so you need to lunge or squat. You need to do push-ups, pull-ups. You need to work your stomach muscles. So what's the key to success here? Leadership. You have to make good decisions about food. You have to make tough decisions, right? Stop eating bread. You have to take some time to exercise and build it into your routine, but you can do it the way you want to do it, right? And you need to listen to your body because everybody's different. Things that work for me probably won't work for you. So you need to not listen to expert advice, but you need to listen to what your body's telling you. Another key here is you favor process over outcome, right? If you eat right and you exercise, your body will go to its natural weight. You don't have to go on a diet. You don't have to be hungry, right? Stick to the process when times are tough, right? And understand it's okay sometimes you have to deviate. When you're from IMC, I got a little prop for this yesterday. I got a Cliff Bar. One of Poland's other food rules is if it says it's healthy on the label, it's probably not, right? But the Cliff Bar, this is the healthy thing. We got the guy climbing up the mountain here. It's 240 calories. So I went down and rode the life cycle yesterday for about half an hour. It took me about half an hour riding the life cycle to get to 240 calories. And of those 240 calories, 44 grams of it is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates means sugar. Sugar is what causes cancer. It's what gives you high cholesterol. It's all about sugar. If you take that out of your diet, a lot of your problems go away. But it's okay to do it sometimes, right? We're at IMC, we're having fun. This is a good time to, break the diet, but don't do it every week. So let's move to investments, right? Let's talk about money, right? So here's a lot of conventional wisdom. There's a lot of information on this. We got CNN running all day long, right? We got MSNBC. So invest in mutual funds. Buy and hold stocks. Stocks are safe. Commodities are risky. You can't time the market. Buy low, sell high. Diversify your holdings. You've all heard it. Get an investment advisor, right? CNBC gives me an advantage in the market. Jim Cramer, my hero, right? Anybody ever made money by following Jim Cramer? I don't see a lot of hands out there. Okay. The markets are random. I need to know everything about a company before I invest in it. Where do I get my information from about investing? I get it from CNBC, Wall Street Journal, Investors Business Daily. I get it from brokers. I get it from financial advisors. I get it from the internet. There's some nonprofits like the American Association of Independent Investors. Very good resource. That's people who really don't have a bias. And, of course, Google knows all, so I just searched for Google. And I found that I can get 20% return each month, profitable trading strategy. for only $187. Right? So I checked it out. Or for 90% trading success rate. Well, you know, if I'm right 90% of the time and I make $10 and I'm wrong that 1% of the time and I lose $100, is that worthwhile to me? Right? Huge profits with options. So who benefits from this, right? So the television's about selling advertisements. It has to be titillating. It has to, you know, make you feel strongly one way. That's why Fox News is so successful, right? They take an extreme position. They make you mad. But we come back, we watch it all the time. They're there to keep you glued to the TV and sell you something. Your broker takes a commission every time you trade. Every time you do something different, he's making money. Fund managers pay their salaries from the fund. It's taken as fees. You know, advisors, you're paying them for their advice. Well, you know, if they were any good, they probably would be trading their own money and not giving you any advice, right? So if you could get 20% per month trading, why would you waste time selling me advice? So what does work? Long-term trend following works, and it's extremely painful. So William O'Neill wrote a book about how to make money in stocks, and 20 years ago. It's completely valid today. Michael Covell has researched long-term successful hedge funds and figured out why do they make money, how do they stay in business, and comes to the conclusion that they trend follow. And a lot of these guys trade a lot of different things. For them, trading is trading, right? I can invest in commodities, I can invest in stocks, and you can do this now much easier today than you could 20 years ago. But today, you can invest in commodities and other things through things called ETFs that look like stocks, so you don't have to go out and open a commodity account. But diversify across markets, diversify across countries. Don't just trade stocks. So I modeled a long-term trend-following portfolio. These are very simple things, too. So I modeled one there using real data from a basket of commodities, and I don't know if you can see the numbers or not there. I can't really see the numbers either, but you get a return of about 40% over 10 years. It draws down about 15%. So at some point, you lose 15% of your money. But if you look at the annual returns there, what you notice is it's not a consistent 20% return. I don't get 20%. It's kind of like running a business. You may have a windfall one year. One year, it makes 186%. And another year, 3 years before that, it made 3%. But if you look over time at that graph, what you see is it's going up, and it keeps going up. It's painful, though, so it may not go up. You may sit for 18 months without it going up. So which equity curve would you rather have? That's the S&P for the last 10 years, or this long-term trend following strategy. Which one would you like to have? Who sat through 2008 and watched their money go in half? Right? Why does it work? It's a systematic process. You follow the process, over time you have a good outcome. Every good trade doesn't make a profit. In this particular way of trading, what you see is 40% of the trades make money, 60% lose money. It's all about managing risk. So it's simple, it's easy to understand, but it's really hard to do it because most of the time you're below what your peak was. So you spend most of the time with a loss. But the current loss is usually less than the loss I had the last time. And you get higher highs and higher lows. It doesn't forecast the market at all. You react to what the market does. And the losses are contained because you limit your losses. You go in with a specific risk amount. And then, when you get the right one, those 40% that go, you let them go as far as they possibly can before you get out of them. So you cut off the fat tails on the left, and you catch the fat tails on the right. So here's an example. There's a website. It's called ISG. I've got all the links and everything in the back for those who have more interest in any of this. But ISG tracks hedge funds. Salem Abraham's probably about 45 years old. He started trading in college. He lives in the middle of nowhere in Texas, Canadian Texas. you can see that you have to have $10 million to invest with this guy, so I'm not invested with him. But what I want to point out is he's been trading since January 1988, and that's his return. So he's averaged a 18.29% return since 1988 in any market. The other beauty of this is it doesn't really correlate with the stock market. So often when the stock market's going up, you're sitting, not making money in this, but when the stock market's going down, you make a lot of money. So 2008 was the year that system I showed you made $189,000, the year everybody else is losing money, or 189%, sorry. And the fund manager charges 20% fee of his winnings. So while he's returning 18.29% to his customers, he's really making 25%. That's pretty good. Anybody else doing 25% on their investments? I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting there, right? All right, so the keys to success is leadership, right? Chart your own course. Don't follow the crowd. Be systematic. This is counterintuitive. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense that I lose 60% of the time and I still make money in the long haul, right? When I take a risk with my equipment and say, gee, I think I can run it another year, but, it's risky, and it doesn't make it, don't punish yourself for that. You do the risk analysis, be sure that you can get there, but you got to teach your management. That's counterintuitive, right? We're going to take this risk, but we may not make it. Over time, you'll make it more than you don't. Again, favor process over outcome. Take the emotion out of the trading, right? Have a strict process. Stick to the process when times are tough. This year has been a terrible year for trend followers, right? Terrible year for trend followers. What's that mean? That means probably next year or the year after, they're going to have another one of those 200% years, right? Got to hang around for the long term. And then understand that sometimes things are going to go wrong. It's expected. Don't beat yourself up over it. The reason why most people don't do this is it's too tough. It's emotionally tough. It's draining, right? My account peaks, and I'm feeling at the top of the world, and then 6 months later, I've lost 30% of my account. It's painful. So if you can't do that, if you can't do it yourself, go find one of these guys to do it for you. Don't ask me to do it because I'm not that good at it yet. All right, let's talk about reliability and maintenance. This is what we're here for, right? Conventional wisdom. Old means unreliable. I can't tell you how many reactive companies I've worked with. They come in, it's like, oh, we got old equipment. We need to spend a lot of money to get it up to speed. No. Old equipment's the best equipment because you've got all the history and you know what's wrong. You know how it's going to fail, right? So what I've seen in the Navy, I operate a lot of old equipment in the Navy, and it was pretty reliable. And I operate a lot of old equipment at ExxonMobil, and it's pretty reliable. We never talked about, hey, this equipment's 20 years old, let's go get another one, right? If we plan and schedule our work, things will get better. Okay? If we do RCM or whatever the latest rage is, we'll get more reliable. A new tool, a CMMS, an EAM, the latest vibration tool, will help us really improve our business, right? Condition monitoring will take us to the next level of reliability. Where do we get our information from in reliability and maintenance? It comes from consultants, comes from the professional community, your friends and neighbors here, comes from industry groups, comes from books, many of which are written by consultants, comes from your peers, comes from the software company selling you the latest, greatest tool, right? And so who benefits? And how do they benefit? Consultants. Well, they're going to sell you some service. They're going to sell you man hours. They're useful for knowledge transfer, coaching. But they can be a trap if you don't make sure you get the knowledge transfer, right? If I let a company come in and do it all for me, and my people aren't involved in it, what's going to happen when they leave? Right? So you've got to make sure you're getting the value out of it. Software companies. Hey, we got a great product. We sell it to you, and we get an ongoing revenue stream of licensing fees and support. Industry groups. Well, they connect people. They promote sharing. We got to watch out for, just like those mutual funds and everything else. All those guys work in the same block in New York City. They all go to lunch together. They all hang out at the same place. They all came from the same universities. Just like us, we all kind of talk to each other. We all kind of think the same way. So we've got to watch out for groupthink, especially within an industry, you know. I worked in mining for 2 years, and coming out of oil and gas was like, that won't work here, that won't work here, that won't work here. You don't know anything about mining because you came from oil and gas. Well, you know, I think we heard it over and over again. Christopher said it yesterday morning, right? But maintenance isn't really different in any of these things. Maintenance is maintenance. Equipment's equipment. It's the same stuff. It's just scaled differently. The hydraulic plant on my haul truck was just a little bit smaller than the hydraulic plant on my FCC, you know, valve. Okay, so what works? This really works best. Reliability and maintenance really works best when it's part of a larger operations excellence framework. Heard people talking about it yesterday. Maintenance, engineering, operations all have to be a team. And there's other people that have to be part of the team too, right? The material management, supply chain. It only works best if you get everybody lined up. Kind of hard to do from where you're sitting in the reliability role, but something you got to go do. You got to get your ops manager on board with this thing. Reliability maintenance is a business process. It leads you to selecting the right work, scoping to meet the mission. Do I want to run forever, or do I just want to run till the next shutdown in 6 weeks? Right? Makes a difference maybe on what work you'll do. Do the right work at the right time, with the right resources, effective planning, scheduling, and good execution. So some of the conventional wisdom is right, isn't it? Right? Collect quality data. This is where we lose it a lot, right? Collect the quality data when you close out the work order. The problem, cause, and remedy, or the object part damage code, cause code. If you're not an SAP or Maximo person, you know, you can get the idea there, right? And reliability engineers need to solve problems and work on improving. So if I just do the planning and scheduling and all that other stuff, I'm at steady state. I can reach a point and stay there. But if I want to get better, I need to continuously improve. That's what your reliability engineers are for. That's what we're here for. Right? So the key to success, again, leadership. It's really all about leadership. If you do leadership right, the rest of the things kind of fall into place, right? And leadership can be you as a person in the organization, being a thought leader. It can be your executive leadership team. But, you know, you need to value maintenance as a business driver. And it's part of your business. Think of it as part of running the business. Don't think of it as, hey, that's a cost I got to deal with. You need to teach your management how to think of maintenance as their number one value driver. It's usually your biggest controllable expense. Right? Understand that peak performance is a team sport. Got to have everybody in the game. Projects need to be accountable. You know, if I'm buying junk and putting defects in the front end, it's pretty tough to be reliable when you're running, right? So you really got to get your project guys hooked in on this, because project guys are typically driven by schedule and cost, right? C, reliability is the way to deliver safe, compliant, reliable operations. It starts with reliability, even though it's a delayed effect. Reliability will give you safety, because if something doesn't break, then I don't put somebody at risk when they have to work on it because they're not working on it, right? Low cost is the outcome. I think you heard that yesterday too, right? You can't focus on cutting cost. You've got to focus on reliability. The cost will come. It's field of dreams. If you build it, they will come, right? And again, we need to favor the process over the outcome. We need to change the reward system, right? We need to reward people for following the process. That means the guy who never sticks his head up is probably the guy you ought to be looking at most closely about, hey, this guy never has a problem. Why is that? Right? Stick to the process when times are tough. You know, hey, market looks like it's turning around. Business is slowing down. We need to cut costs. It's absolutely the wrong time to go in and stop doing reliability. That's the time when you need reliability the most. And, again, understand that sometimes things are going to go wrong. This is a risk management game, right? So you're going to make decisions that aren't going to turn out well. It was still a good decision. So, kind of closing up to get us back on schedule here. Think differently requires a change of mindset or culture change. Culture change is really hard, right? You saw the numbers. 70% of initiatives fail, right? GE did some research a while back that I got an opportunity to see that they said, you know, they looked at all their initiatives and they said of all the ones that failed, there was a few that weren't technically sound, and they all failed. And the rest of them, 98% of them were technically sound, And they failed because they didn't get the engagement of the organization. They didn't get the people involved. So the culture change is tough. In all three areas we discussed today, you have a good process and you follow it, you'll get a good result, right? Having the right tools can be a big help. Having the right software, having the right practice, but those are enablers. They're not solutions. Don't buy the software thinking it's going to solve your problem. Fix your work process, then buy the software to support it, right? And my final message is there's a lot of good people here that can help you, right? They can help your organization get the results you want. There's some good companies here that can partner with you. You need to use them wisely to get good results. You can't call them in and say, do this for me. You got to engage in it, right? Nobody else can do this for your organization. Okay? Thank you.
Big hand for Steve. Great big hand for Steve. Let's all think differently. I love it. I love the analogy.